This is About Nothing podcast, where we talk about nothing and everything.
This nurse who got pregnant, but it was a story from China. I don't know how true it was. This nurse who got into the mortuary, I think, to clean a body, and a dead body erected, and she was pregnant. And people don't want to.
My friends tell me that girl was too high for you.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, one of them told me, like, one lady was out of my class. That's even add more stress to the cry.
Like, I had a friend who was in a relationship and her boyfriend was slapping, and I'm like, are you fine? Why would you be okay with someone slapping you? Like, no, he loves me. I'm like, nope.
I find sophisticated people to be very arrogant.
Really?
Yeah, just saying, what do you mean, like, I am attracted to people's intelligence? What do you think? So are you saying that we are not I think we're attracted to dumb people? Hi everyone, Nelson Kwaja here. This is About Nothing podcast, where we talk about nothing and everything. Sorry, I've taken a break and being consistent a bit. But this time we came back strong with a stronger team, more guests, better stuff, new setup. And and I hope just these conversations develop into something. This is a podcast about nothing and about everything. And today I am with Nyibol.
Nice.
I had met you online before. We kind of knew each other online through Facebook. I've kind of seen a few of your stuff. But then when I met you in person, we get to have a lot of conversation, and I realized, wow, you're actually doing a lot of things.
Thank you.
Impactful things. And yeah, maybe you can just tell me about you. Who is Nyibol and what do you do?
Okay. So thank you for hosting me.
Yeah.
My name is Nyibol Racheal, and I create content on mental health and sexual reproductive health. I'm also a writer, published 3 books. If only I had known. Now that I know, and there's a 3rd book, A Fight Worth Taking. Yeah. So, and also I blog. I'm a blogger. I have a blog, nyibol.com. Yeah, basically. Oh, and I'm a student of clinical medicine.
You're a student of clinical medicine. You're in which year now?
Second
year. Okay, good. Wow. To be a student of clinical medicine and be able to do all that, that's impressive. I was a student of IT. When I was a student of IT, I could barely speak while chewing gum. Like it's very impressive to see people who are like very much on the ball and trying to achieve what they want to achieve. We'll kind of try to delve into all the stuff that you're talking about. How does it like being a medical student?
I guess it's like being any other student, except you have to read a lot. And
it's not like one of those topics where you just chill. You're like,
yeah, because you're dealing with human life.
I know people who do tourism. People who do tourism, I studied with them. Okay, this is definitely, I say a lot of problematic things in this podcast. Maybe this is one of them. I had people who are doing tourism with us in campus, and they're just like, we're going to Mombasa for a work trip. For a class work trip, and they're just going there, chilling in hotels and whatever. Like, this is part of our coursework. I'm like, and at times they're just at a restaurant cooking stuff. I'm like, tourism. Wow. They're really having it nice. I don't know. I don't know if people who are doing tourism are really reading as they should. But you're doing medicine, so a lot of work.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a lot of work. It just needs dedication, I guess, and passion. You need to be passionate about saving lives. Yeah.
At what class do you start going to that place where you see a dead body? Where you guys have a dead body you guys are practicing on?
I think it depends on the school. But then 2nd year, 3rd year. No, not 3rd year. 2nd year, sometimes end of 1st year. For some people, actually, like when you're just starting, that's why they take you so that they show you, this is what you're coming for.
You've been to that?
A dead body?
It like the where they give you a dead body, you can check it.
Yeah. Of course, we've seen the dead body. Obviously, at first, it's very scary. But then, because you're with a tutor and the other people, you're like, okay. Actually, I think the first time I went, I had already read stories.
What kind of stories?
There was this nurse who got pregnant, but it was a story from China.
Yeah,
I don't know how true it was. This nurse who got into the mortuary, I think, to clean a body, and a dead body erected, and she was pregnant.
Wow.
And I didn't know what to think. So
there is nothing funny about a dead body.
Erecting. I mean, it's very funny.
It is very funny. Okay, there is a lot of funny things about the dead body erecting.
And I don't even know how true it was because I think
But
I
that
was in primary back then.
already put a lot of suspicions in your head.
Yeah, scary things. And now that brings the issue of ghosts. There may be ghosts following you.
So, but you guys showed up. How are the students? Were there some students who were like, yeah?
We were all excited. And I think the boys made it lively. They would make jokes about it and you're like, oh, I think I signed up for this, so I should
You should
be calm.
Yeah, but like medicine is also like it's a very noble and pure profession. It's my sister is a medical doctor and she's amazing. The other day she was narrating to me about a certain procedure. I'm definitely going. If someone is a medical student here, is just going to go like, what is this guy teaching? She was narrating to me about a certain procedure that involves someone was shot in the chest. And she told me when does that, the pressure level changes in the chest, so they have to sew it in such a way that to return the pressure back, because otherwise it will cave in or something of that sort.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what I'm explaining even, but she was explaining it to me and how she did it and stuff like that, and how she put another tube here to do something. I was like, you an actual doctor. Like, I like, until then, I never saw her in that level of complexity. And she will talk to me about like the different, of course, anonymously, she will just tell me like what kind of cases. And I was like, wow, like for me, the worst thing is probably that can happen in my office is an unreplied email or a printer that's not working.
Yeah, and yet for us, sometimes you can, like I remember reading this story. I wasn't in medical school, I was in high school. And then there was a certain hospital, I won't mention because it's a big hospital, was being sued after a doctor forgot scissors inside the woman and she died. So sometimes the mistakes you make are very crucial, like it's someone's life. So it's hard.
But how can a society expect people not to do mistakes? Like we are okay with, I don't know, electricians not fixing things, or the water guy didn't bring water today morning. Why are people kind of expecting doctors to be like?
Because it depends on life and death. If I make a mistake,
Yeah, but even if it depends on life and death, the human nature of error is still.
It comes in. And I think the challenge with medical workers, especially in African countries, Uganda, South Sudan, Kenya, stuff like that, is that usually people are understaffed. And so somebody is working very long hours. So that actually,
and also under-resourced,
Yeah, they're under-resourced. So that's basically
someone was telling me there is a place here in South Sudan where like they were like trying to do delivery with a torch.
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So it's very.
But that's kind of lead us to our other topic that you're passionate and you do about. It's on mental health, because we were just talking about stress and kind of that.
Yeah.
You do a lot of awareness on mental health. What is that? Why should I hear about it?
Well, you should hear.
Look at Kwaji. I'm happy. Look at me. Am I not happy? Why do I need mental health?
You happy when you're not happy. Like I told you earlier, like there was this boy, Ethiopian boy, a foreigner actually, who like I came on Friday, and then Sunday morning I discovered he had committed suicide.
And people will say things like, "Yesterday I saw him. He was fine. He came to the shop. He was what?"
Yeah. So, and actually, my young mom, like my uncle's wife, is like, "Oh my God, that boy is so cute. How could he die? He had mob hair." And I'm
Again, we're laughing about something that's tragic.
Like, is it ugly people who should die?
But do you think people have a certain stereotype about people who have mental health issues or people who commit suicide? They expect them to be from a flawed characteristics or addicts or what?
People think if you have mental health issues, you have a wire that's missing or you're very weak. And that's actually what happens to men. Like they rarely talk about their problems. And at the end, they just explode. You see what happens to a Coca-Cola bottle? If you shake it, it pressure builds from within. And then if you're not careful, that's why like when you open it, it
explodes.
Yeah, it blows. So that's what happens with mental health. If we keep quiet about our challenges, it reaches a point and we can't do it anymore. That's why you have soldiers shooting themselves.
And this here happens a lot, soldiers shooting themselves. Like actually, like, it doesn't pass a month or two without hearing soldiers shooting themselves, other soldiers shooting each other, shooting a family member.
And it's worse with South Sudan because we have our war history of things that happen. And people think because war is like 5 years back, its effects should stop. But unfortunately, they don't, because we have soldiers living with PTSD, that's post-traumatic stress disorder, where you're trying to sleep, and then you feel like you're at the battlefield again, and then everything that happened re-happens, and it's very hard to live like your normal life.
Do you, in terms of kind of reconstructing and kind of like building South Sudan and kind of like peace building and what, do you think mental health is being talked about as much as it should?
No, it's not like
Do you think it's being resourced?
it's being.
Do you think there are resources that are being put for it in this country?
I haven't seen any because I actually had because I haven't gone to
Yeah.
any mental health institute here. But when I was still in Uganda, I watched this video where they were interviewing a mental health expert, and then I found out from her that mental health victims, like the patients that were psychotic, that were like what we call mad people, were being kept in prison.
Yeah, some of them are being chained.
Yeah, which is very not okay. Like we're making the situation worse for them. So mental health is really not being worked on, yet it should, because it's very important for us.
Do you, a young person like me, I am kind of a little bit not known, not too much, a little bit known.
You are known. You're an influencer.
Few people know me, few people here and there. They know me and I talk with them.
Okay.
What does being in the public do to someone's mental health or mental stability?
I think it comes with a lot of expectations from people. I think right now as Nelson, if you came out and spoke about a challenge, of course, you might have a close circle that will understand, but a bigger majority of our people will say, no, Nelson, you can't cry for a breakup. If you had a breakup, Nelson, that girl was too low for you. That girl is a witch. You don't even need to do this. And people don't want to.
My friends tell me that girl was too high for you.
Can you oh, they do.
Yeah, one of them told me, like, one lady was out of my class. That's even add more stress to the cry.
Like now that makes you feel small, like low self-esteem and stuff like that. So the challenge with influencers is that people look at you and they think you're too strong or you're too out of the world and you can't face these challenges, and that makes things very hard. Because today you see, like this year actually, like back in Uganda before I came, like when they put in place the second lockdown, that whole week I was very depressed because on every single status I saw rest in peace, R.I.P. And then there was this girl, she was doing law and stuff like that, and things didn't really turn out well for her. The moment the lockdown was announced, she slit her wrist and she died. And people are like, oh my God, she was happy. Like, what happened? So that's the challenge. Like, you see somebody's happy today, and tomorrow you hear they're dead. Like that boy I was telling you, he drank Kanta, like hair dye. Yeah, and that's how he killed himself.
So how should we talk about that? What is the most sober or kind of clear way to talk about suicide? I probably grew up in Sudan, and I don't like how true that. Someone's saying me like this could be also misquoted in other, I don't know, either Islamic or certain culture, certain sect of Islamic culture. But like if someone dies of suicide, they're caned.
Yeah, I think it's Islam because even in Uganda, the Muslim community canes, like they put like if you committed suicide they cane you.
They cane you, kind of like they're punishing you for that. And I think probably, I don't know, probably it comes from a good place. They want to
discourage.
Yeah. How, but like apart from caning a dead body to show other people, how should we, what is the most sober way to talk about suicide?
I think the best way is to encourage people to speak about their challenges. I did this blog post, I think this year at the beginning, and it was about why should men rather die than cry? Because if a young boy falls and he'd be like, you're a man, don't cry.
Yeah, man up.
Yeah, man up and stuff like that. And then the best thing we can do is allow people express themselves. If I am hurt, allow me express myself. Allow me cry. Allow me talk about it. If I went through a terrible breakup, I should be able to explain what happened. If I think that guy is a jerk, allow me say it. If I think he was nice and I made a mistake, if I'm blaming myself, allow me express myself so that I don't bottle up these emotions. So that you see, actually, sometimes when I feel really stressed or something terrible happens, and then I narrate it to someone else, even if they don't give me any piece of advice, just me narrating helps me actually get an idea about what I should do.
But like social media culture, the, what does it add? Because I can see on social, like on Instagram, all my friends are happy on this Instagram. All my friends, they have nice pictures. But also you see that also on Facebook, also on Twitter and what. Do you think social media kind of like unnecessarily makes people try to portray probably a better situation than they're actually in?
Yeah, because social media is just pictures. Like we can take a picture here and edit it, and we're laughing, and somebody else is going to see the picture and like, oh my god, these guys are so happy. Oh my god, if they are content creators like we do, and then if in their life they're having a challenge, they will be forced not to speak about it because everybody else is happy. Why are you going to bring your gloomy stories or stuff like that? So social media plays a very big role. We think I'm the only one left behind. Everybody's taking pics in Gucci clothes at these expensive hotels, and you're like, everybody else is doing well. And then you get into pressure to do well. At the end of the day, you may steal, you may get involved in terrible stuff that may not really end well, and then you're too afraid to speak about it. So you're like,
because you
I'm
always
rather
want to portray a better
image.
better. I mean, and that's why people talk about filters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people just want to portray a happier version of themselves.
Yeah. So in the end, when you realize you've messed up, everything becomes grey, and you're like, well, what's the point of living?
Yeah, but so that's interesting also because you look at successful people, even like people with marriages kind of breaking. Like, I mean, you look at what happens with Bill Gates and Melinda. You look at what happened with Jeff Bezos and what's her name?
Miss Jeff.
No, she has a name. She's a billionaire, for God's sake. I should know her. I'll probably get the name. Jeff Bezos' wife, who is successful in her own right. Ex-wife. So the company, like, people cannot comprehend, like, Bill Gates, like, you are the Gates. Like, you
and I actually, I subscribed, I think, to their email later. Yeah. So I used to receive emails from Melinda and Gates.
Now it's from
Foundation.
Gates.
And then now it's Gates Foundation. I'm like,
like, come on, Gates.
So it came as a shock, like me when I first saw it, because I saw it on Facebook, I think, and I'm like, look at these people dreaming. Like, these guys can't have broken up. I mean, I don't know if it was a book. It wasn't a book, but I was reading something from Melinda. No, somebody else was talking about Melinda.
Yeah.
And they were like, one thing they admire about Melinda is, okay, they were talking about successful women and how they should involve men. And Melinda was like, well, I know my husband is like the world's richest man, but I make sure he drops the kids to school. So they were telling women or girls why it's important to, if you're with a guy in a relationship, why you should be like Melinda. Like, even if your husband is the world's richest man, make sure he does. Yeah, involve him, and that's how you have a happy marriage. And then the happy marriage ended where?
Yeah, it's very. Someone's saying like, man, that guy with all that money couldn't maintain marriage. We don't have any hope as broke
as broke as you are.
No, but like that's a very relationship. How much like relationship? Is it do a lot of our problems come from relationship? Unsuccessful ones?
They do. Like, I have this friend who was having a really mental health challenge because she was going through a breakup. She had invested a lot in her relationship, I think over 5 years.
Wow.
And then a different girl comes from nowhere and is shaking her relationship. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe this is going to end. And she was very disturbed. And then in the end, okay, now of course she's better because with time.
Yeah.
But then she was very suicidal, and I was very worried because it was lockdown. We're not allowed to see people. And sometimes you tell someone something online and they don't even really, like, if we're having a conversation, it would be easy. I would see their facial expression. I would know I should be with them 24/7, but it was online. So relationships are very hard.
Should we have them? Should we have relationships? Should we have more of them or less?
Well, I don't know. It's
Should we just say like, to hell, this thing is too problematic?
No, I think with relationship is we should not get very emotionally attached, because when I say emotionally attached, I'm speaking from experience.
No, what do you mean we should not get emotional? We cannot relate any other way. It's not we can.
We should know that. Of course, you should be in a relationship, but you shouldn't give it your all. I mean, you should be in a situation where, in case things don't work out, I can walk out.
So be realistic.
Be realistic and stop forming mental images of what,
Because
like,
people can. Do you think a lot of young people are naive at times?
they are, like, you can see red flags and you want to act like China, like, you know, the Chinese flag is
Yeah,
red.
yeah.
You want to act like you're very good at collecting red flags because you think, oh, that will change, oh, that will change. I had a friend who was in a relationship and her boyfriend was slapping, and I'm like, are you fine? Why would you be okay with someone slapping you? She's like, no, he loves me. I'm like, no, that's not love. And it progressed into a point where the guy got very physical. She ended up getting a fracture. And she was like, it was by mistake. And I'm like, next time he will kill you by mistake.
You're telling her like check out.
Yeah, I told, and it's very hard. If someone is in love, it's very hard to tell them to get out of love. And they'll be hurting themselves.
Abusive relationships. What do you call it? GBV, femicide. What is the best way to talk about that? Or there is no best way, actually. We need to talk about it. Does those things feature also in your content?
Yeah, they do. Like, I write some, it's not often because most times it's on mental health, but sometimes when the mental health content I'm writing is related to abusive relationship, I talk about it. So I think the best thing about abusive relationship is no matter what happens, as long as that guy or that girl raises their hand against you, as long as they get very abusive, not even, as long as they get abusive, you should just check out that relationship. Because even if we will try to get excuses, but no matter how much excuse you give, it's still going to be.
But you know, sometimes people don't have that option even of checking out. Like, for example, if I am, and this happens when I stayed in Nairobi, I know a lot of people who kind of, you start campus and then you say like, oh, let me move my money and the guy's money. We rent one place to save our money. And then you buy the furniture and all that thing. Your parents send you money for 6 months. You all put it in that house. Then the guy is on who's now, then he becomes abusive. How do you can't even get out?
I guess at that point, first and foremost, you need to get somebody to speak to, somebody that can actually help you, a professional, like therapy. You see, the problem with us is we don't want therapy. Like, okay, sometimes maybe therapy is very expensive, but you need someone to speak to, because at that point, most of your judgments are going to be clouded because you feel like, I like this guy, and then you self-blame. Maybe it was my fault. Or I like this girl. I'm not saying it's only girls that suffer. So the challenge with that, and maybe before you enter a relationship,
like just count and kind of look at the calculations.
Yeah, look at the and as long as it's a relationship, don't act like somebody's wife if you're their girlfriend. Like, let them.
Or don't act like someone's husband. Also.
Yeah. Like, let them. Don't ever put things together until you have to put them together.
Other thing kind of leads me to also the other topic that features on your writing and your work is sexual reproductive health. Kind of like awareness on that. Again, as I said earlier, why do we need to hear about sex? Have we not had enough?
We haven't had enough. We barely had any discussion on sexual.
Tell me about that,
health.
like sex and sexual reproductive health.
Okay, so what I basically do, the topic is sex education, especially for young people, because it's a taboo. People can't speak about sex and things related to it because culture and the Bible and church and maybe Quran says until you're married, you can't engage in sex and things like that. But we live in an age time where we have Pornhub and this, so kids are seeing things. And
but doesn't that make a case for more Bible or more Quran?
No, because it's the Bible or the Quran or church or the mosque says, do not. If you do, you're going to be punished. So there is no like, it's black and white. If you do it, how do you tell your father, who is a pastor, how you are attracted to a certain boy and you might want to sleep with them? How?
No, but that's very interesting. But I'm just doing it for the benefit of the audience who also hold a kind of a different belief. Someone might say like there is also a provision for forgiveness and what for you to be cleansed and all those kind of things. Like people have all this all doctrinal basis around that. But are you stating like that has failed?
I'm not saying it has failed, but I'm saying we live right now. We have HIV spreading like wildfire, and then so kids, and we're not going to blame kids. By kids I mean not kids, children,
Yeah. Young adults,
11, adolescents. Like right now, it's not their fault they feel these things because biologically we know hormones are released at that point, testosterone, and then kids are going to be attracted to members of the opposite sex. They're curious, and you're not going to blame them for hormones. I mean, if anything, it's God that created them, right? So if they experience these things and they have questions, but this is a taboo, they can't speak about it.
So you advocating for more conversations? Like,
For more
let's have a conversation.
conversations around
At what age should people have conversations about sex, or parents with kids?
11
Yeah.
for girls, 13 for boys, because averagely that's it. But then sometimes you look at your child and you know, oh, the hormones have started coming. A girl will get breast, hips, softer voice.
Do you think people are having these conversations in South Sudan with their kids?
I doubt.
I never had
some
that
are
conversation with my parents.
Yeah, neither did I. So it's hard because right now in the age of HIV spreading, like I remember at the hospital for practicum and stuff like that, and then there was this boy, he was 12, who had HIV, and he wasn't born with it. And you ask yourself, why did he get the virus? And he was positive, and his parents had no idea. So
That's a very difficult. Do you think there are a lot of teenagers or kind of young people who are HIV positive or got HIV or STDs through?
yeah, that's why we have cases of teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
How do you think that happens? Like, kids are trying these things out, and when they mess up, because it's a taboo, they can't speak about it. Like, we want a situation where if a child gets in trouble, they'll be like, oh my God, I need to speak to my mom. Oh my God, I need to speak to my dad. But if a child's first reaction is, oh my God, my mom is going to kill me. Oh my God, my dad is going to kill me. That's like something very bad, and it's going to be very hard to help. And then when we keep this thing of culture says no sex, so if anyone gets HIV through that, that's their punishment. If we keep that, our society is going to get rotten.
Do you think we, like right now, so what happens? So when people mess up, do you think the society's current reaction is a lot of judgment rather than help?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I have a friend who has a friend who got the virus. And then the problem is he discovered he had the virus, like after his friends told him, you're over coughing a lot. Dude, you need to go and test for TB. But to test for TB, you need to test for HIV at the hospital. So the doctor finds out and he's positive, HIV positive. And he freaks out. And then the doctor is like, you need to take medication. And he can't take medication. So now he refused to take medication. So it's a very serious situation. Now, if such a boy has several relationships,
He could be spreading it too.
he has spread the HIV. And most times people are in sexual networks. You may think you're like, because
people are not exclusive, huh?
Yeah, like you sleep with this person, you trust them, and then you think you're the only one cheating when they're cheating also. And then you're trying to sleep with this other person. And if that other person has two, and then you have two, and then the other person has two, you realize the smallest sexual network can have like 215 people.
And that means if there is a disease that can spread.
If one person gets out of the network and goes to another network and brings back HIV, you're all dead. Unless, of course, if you use condoms or things like that.
When you talk about this stuff too, how receptive is your audience?
Oh, some people are very receptive. Others are very judgmental.
Do people say like, that sex lady, sex talking lady?
I was once speaking to this category of people, and someone was like, you girl, I know you have HIV.
oh, is that?
Yeah. And I'm like, why? They're like, the way you talk about sex, you can't just be here and you're not having sex. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, really?
So they think you have HIV, that's why you have learned your lesson, that's why you're coming.
Yeah, they think I have HIV. Others think I'm sleeping. Because initially I was just speaking about sex. I think last 2019, I was speaking about virginity and things like that, the hymen, how people expect, like, if you're going to marry a girl, I think there's something about the bedsheet and blood, she should bleed. And then my whole point for that Facebook post back then was, it's not everybody that's going to bleed. Like the hymen, some people have a very big hymen, some people have a very tiny hymen, some people don't have a hymen at all.
So it's not a scientific test.
Yeah.
This bleeding is not a scientific.
It's not scientific. Like, some people don't have it. And some people have it. It's so thick that they need a surgery if they're going to penetrate through. So that was what I was talking about. People became very judgmental, and I'm like, okay.
They're like, you're corrupting the society.
Yeah, you're spoiling people. And then some concerned relatives, who is going to marry you? Our cows are not coming.
So do some of your relatives kind of reach out and say like, what the heck, what are you talking about?
Oh my God. Yeah, but luckily a lot of them don't really mind. But then there are those that really, really have a problem and they're like, you're spoiling our image. You can't be speaking about sex. You can because sometimes I mention things like vagina, penis,
Oh,
what,
so
sex.
you talk openly
Yeah,
about.
and then they're like, no, who's going to marry you? I'm like, I don't even care. Yeah,
But you do care. You want to get married, right?
I don't know. I
What do you
don't
mean? Come on, this is this is a podcast. There could be potential people here. Don't ruin this.
No, I'm not reading, but I mean, relationships are complicated, and
What do you mean are complicated? Like, are you interested in having a relationship or you have one? I mean, you are at liberty not to say.
initially I thought I was, but now I'm thinking. Do you know there are people that are asexual, like they are not sexually attracted to anyone?
What do you mean? They're asexual?
Yeah, like they
Those people who are attracted to the brain, whatever thing?
no, those are sapiosexual people.
I find sapiosexual people to be very arrogant.
Really?
Yeah, that's what do you mean? Like, I am attracted to people's intelligence. What do you think? So, are you saying that we are not? I think we're attracted to dumb people.
Well, I don't know. I'm not.
Okay, hey, this is sorry, sapiosexuals. I knew I'm going to say something problematic somewhere. What's up with sapiosexuals? Like, I think all of us are also attracted to people. If we're attracted to people in a sexual way, and we're also attracted to their brain.
No, there are people that are attracted to people's hips. There's a guy who married his wife because he had nice legs.
Some people are hipsters.
Yeah, I guess.
So it's also like, but you know, like these things start from an innocent place, but then all of a sudden it gets
by
into.
the way, I don't want to say I'm not interested in relationships, but I guess I've had terrible experiences.
Yeah.
I once had a crush on this guy, but oh my God, I got ghosted.
Oh, he ghosted you? Damn.
Yeah, he did, and
You reach out and he.
man, that's let's not even talk about.
No. You DM'd him and he just ghosted you.
I don't know. I think maybe I was okay. I'm not self-blaming, but I was very naive at the time, so I said, I don't know, but I was ghosted.
What did you say?
Nelson, let's not talk about that.
I have been ghosted before. There is someone whom I kind of like I hit on them. They reply after 3 years or so.
After 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, man, this train has sailed. But why do people take being ghosted this personal? Okay, I mean it is personal. Why do people take it this?
No, because I think for me, and for me it's very weird because I didn't know the guy physically. It was like virtual. I knew him online and stuff like that. And then, what if he's watching?
No, come on. If he's watching, let him watch to learn his lesson so that it doesn't ghost beautiful, smart ladies. So then when you
well, I guess I also didn't know. Like, I don't know about him. Maybe he was actually in a relationship, although his social media says single.
These people. Come on, if you're single, you should reply to people's DMs.
Yeah, basically. So the thing is, I guess he wasn't interested, and we should respect that. But it was my first time trying out, and then it was terrible.
Okay, you read all these things of now ladies should also be.
I actually started posting, and I was asking people, so what do you do when you like a guy? And because I didn't want to talk about it.
Don't take social media advice. People will receive you
God.
terribly.
People told me, just tell him, you never know. And then somebody actually told me, I had this girl I liked, and I didn't tell her because I was afraid.
Yeah.
And later, I think 5 years later, he finds out the girl actually liked.
Also a crush.
Yeah.
Believe you me, this story is 1%. Majority of the people you like don't like you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's
Audience,
so true.
let me be very clear with you. A lot of the people you're crush on don't have a crush on you. A lot of the people you like don't like you. So, so probably you need to build a case.
You just have to be careful, I guess. I mean, it doesn't mean don't tell people because, I mean, right now is it. Oh, by the way, I think I shouldn't say he was totally bad because after he found out, he was nice. He talked to me like, oh, hi.
I think people should be gracious. Just to
yeah,
people.
Initially he was. And then I don't know what happened along the way.
Yeah.
And I think the best thing is he shared books with me. And I'm like, okay, this is nice.
Come on, you want a relationship. You get books? Come on. This is
no, but I love to read books. And so he shared very nice books. He shared with me a book. It's called Half of a Yellow Sun.
I think I heard of that book. Is it by James Baldwin or by who?
No.
It's by
It's she's a Nigerian.
Chimamanda.
Chimamanda
Yeah.
Adichie.
Ah,
And some Barack Obama book.
ah,
And yeah, some nice fiction. So it wasn't a loss in
Yeah.
the end.
so the producer's giving me the 40 minutes mark, so that means we have like about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. Is that a pressure that I should say profound stuff at the end? No.
Okay.
Let's talk about this getting crashed though. Let's talk about what's up with all this thing of like people kind of crashing and all. Crashing is not like wanting to be in a relationship with someone like that.
Yeah.
Crashing could be for the sake of crashing.
You just like a guy or you just like a girl, and maybe you have daydreams, assuming things. And then the challenge is sometimes you really want them, and then most times they don't want you. And so I think the hardest part about a crush is when you realize you have to break up with them
How can you break up with a crush?
when
that
you
you
were
have
never really. So that is the challenge. Like, you know,
So you
when
stop crashing. The breakup is to stop crash, to halt the crash.
no, it actually has to be a real breakup for you to get over, because if you're in a relationship,
people have. You want to break up with a crush, someone that you're not in a relationship with.
yeah, and that's what makes it hard, because if you're in a relationship, it's very easy to remember their bad things and be like, oh, but he was abusive. Oh, but he was this.
But
And
a
so you have a
crush,
valid reason. A crush, you only have the nicest things.
I usually
and
just
think,
make
oh.
the assumption that no one crashes on me. Like I wear different colored socks. I I post
Well, there are
weird
people that are
pictures.
attracted to
Like,
that.
like you have to be like for you to crush on me, you have to be like really committed to this. I
Well,
probably
people could be attracted to you because of the work you do. Maybe they like this guy. I
Yeah.
think I liked him because of the work he does. I feel like he was doing very like I'm very passionate about helping people.
yeah.
And when I looked at his social media, I think he was also very passionate about helping people.
Yeah.
Only that it was in the law field. And so I'm like, oh my God, I think this guy is nice. And well, it ended in premium tears.
No, I mean we're laughing about this, but also like, do some people like when people? What about rejection? How should people deal with rejection?
Rejection, first and foremost, is you have to accept that the other person has a right not to want to be with you. And then most challenges with rejection is people develop self-harm. Like, I remember the first time I went for hospital practicum, there was this. Well, I'm not going to mention names. I mean, I'm not supposed to talk about patients.
Yeah. There's a patient confidentiality.
I'm not supposed to talk about
There
patients. So
was
I
this
won't mention
person.
names, where I was. So there was this person. She was 19 years old, and she had tried to take glass. She pounded glass and she drank it. And then because initially we didn't know the issue because they brought her to the hospital when she had collapsed. So our point was to get her back, like to make her conscious again. So then later we found out it was a mental health issue because she was being rejected by her boyfriend. And then because I was interested in mental health, like the other students, so this is a mental health case. They wrote a referral and they were sending her to Butavika. But then I was very interested, so I stayed behind. I'm like, why did you want to end your life? Like, he didn't want to be with me and stuff like that. And I'm like, if you died, would that make him want to be with you? Like, if I died, he would feel bad and I would have punished him. And like, how about your mom? How about your sister? How about this? And then, so what I discovered is people get so emotionally attached that they feel, I can't live without them.
I think that's very important to kind of like to try. Earlier on, you're telling me about like you need to be emotionally detached. You need to actually really provide for yourself some emotional cushion for you to be able, like this idea of like I cannot live with that person. I think it's fair to say that everyone can live without the other person.
Yeah,
and unless
we need to be in a
and
situation.
yes, unless you're incapacitated and you're kind of depending on them for what. Like I think it's a very hard statement to say.
If you are, then you just need professional people to help you.
Yeah. Because like this idea of like I cannot live without the other person also already put you at a
disadvantage.
Yeah, and I think like life is very difficult, and a lot of things actually make it even more difficult.
Yeah, and then there's this song I think in Uganda now that's trending with Mitima Jakaluba, like our hearts are now. They're now hearts of stone. Like you don't get
like our hearts are hearts of stones now.
Yeah, like you don't get emotionally attached anymore because people have learned from their breakup stories that it's really, really hard. So I think you need to like laminate your heart. Yeah, like don't test the depth of the waters with both feet.
Yeah.
Like,
So you have to be
think about yourself. Think about your like what if things go wrong? Always have that. I'm not saying don't love people, but care about yourself, have self-care. Like
Yeah.
things could go wrong.
I think
People could die.
yeah. I think the message is that like we should develop some level of internal resilience. Of course, we shouldn't. If people are hard, we should not go and tell them, "Hey, be resilient." But like when situations are good, you gotta try to develop some internal resilience, so you just don't predispose yourself to a lot of things that might put you in trouble.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is people need to like really consider speaking to professionals. Therapy,
Yeah, yeah, therapy.
therapy. Like we're so negative about therapy, yet it really helps when you have like at the end of the week you go to your therapist and you're like, oh, this happened during the week. Oh, my boyfriend did this. Oh, my girlfriend did this. And now I feel really useless. And just speaking out.
Therapy is like the tea place here in Juba.
Yeah.
The tea place is here in Juba. You go and take tea and like, this is.
Yeah, it's very. By the way, it's very. There's this book I'm reading. It's called Lost Connections, and the writer Joan Harry was like, the things we do that we think are useless, but actually are very
Help.
important because as humans, initially, like at the very start, we were very connected people. We were living as like if you leave your people, there was a challenge of we could be eaten by wild animals, so people had to stick together.
Yeah.
But now the world we've reached in is like we're disconnected because now the social media.
Yeah. Just adjust the mic. Yeah. So it's now people are now more disconnected.
People are disconnected. So these places of tea actually help. Like it helps you.
It helps you build connections.
Vent out. Like you remove you speak about the things and you can't bottle them up. And that's why it's very important to gossip. That's why like
Hi, audience. Gossip a little bit, not too much.
You should gossip more.
we are really corrupting the youth right now. we're doing.
No, I mean, don't gossip about people. But if you have a challenge and you don't
talk
like
to someone.
Nelson, tell someone I don't like Nelson. He does this. And then
Come
it's
on, like the people who don't like me actually come to my post and say
DMs.
I don't like. The people who don't like me are very open, liberal to say those stuff. How much should we worry about being liked?
We shouldn't worry about being liked, because if you worry about being liked, you're going to get depressed, because there are a lot of people out there that don't actually like you. Even if you have not done anything, people will always have their opinions. There was once this preacher, I think when I was still a very, very churchy girl, there was this, I was at church. No, I was at school. And there was this preacher.
You still have a bit of church foundation that helps you. Yeah.
So we're at church, and then he was like, people's opinions are the cheapest commodity on market. You're going to get one even if you don't ask for it. So it should never at any one point bother you. Like people are still going to speak. Except of course if someone is paying you tuition and you don't listen to them.
So you should people's opinion shouldn't be like the kind of the metrics for measuring.
Yeah, you should just check.
But of course you should listen to advice.
No, you should filter that advice, because sometimes people are advising you based on their own fears, not really what because sometimes the things I want to start and people are like, no, you can't start that. Like I was trying to start a fragrance business, and then I was telling a friend, and they're like, no, Africans don't like to smell good. I'm like, I like to smell good, and I'm African. No,
definitely. I think we should be a bit robust in kind of not, as you're saying, like not being so much affected with people. As someone who kind of builds stuff, I find build stuff is not probably the accurate description. As someone who tries to do things, I find that like at times I really have to be stubborn with my views and just trying to take. Yeah, you just take things into my own hand, because sometimes you can be misadvised, cloud your judgment.
Yeah, no. So the thing is, you should speak to people because it's important to connect, but you should just be very careful not to make like. There was a point in my life where I cared how many likes I had on Facebook, and it would stress me.
I still care a little bit. When I get less than 100, it's a big problem.
Oh my god! Yeah. So you see, that's the problem. So I would post, like, there's a point where you'd get 400 likes, and then you post something, and then you're seeing 2. Wait a minute, like you guys are not seeing this.
You're not showing me love.
Yeah, and then you post a YouTube video, and then you're seeing 5 views. You're like, Ananga, these people. And then it gives you a problem. But now I can post a video and I have 1 view, and I'm okay with it, because in the end, if it helped, that's what matters.
When I started this podcast, I was like, this is about nothing. I don't have any expectations. Then after some time, I realized myself, like one of them got like 500 views. And then I'm like, shit, the next one better get 1,000. Like at the first I was like, I'm just playing and what. But then I realized, and people started telling me, hey, Nelson, are you you see, the other one was very good. Next time I want you to bring this kind of people. Then I'm like, I realized all of a sudden expectations of other people started seeping into me. So I'm like, I started, in fact, probably this is why I took long with that recording, because I was like, okay, the next one I need to get this. I need to get this person. It should be this kind of a thing. But then I think after some time you just need to take a step back and say, like, is this making you happy? Also, are you improving? Not are you improving and like adding more things, feedback as you move on, but like this idea of like kind of really anchoring to other people's expectations
like
becomes difficult.
do you make a difference anyway? Like I think that should be the point. If like your whole point is I'm trying to make a difference, because I watched one video where like I don't care if one person watches this or what, I'm like, oh my god, this guy is strong, I think I should be like
Oh, you watch that, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what we should focus on as content creators, is that our whole motive is to help. So
Yeah.
whether we help one person or two people, as long as we've made a difference, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think that definitely counts. I've like over the years, it took me a lot of time. Like the current personality I have, took me a lot of years to build. I'm saying it as if my intention was to build a personality. I was just doing my stuff, and then in the process, you kind of build a personality. I remember one time when I realized I'm really like kind of like getting a bit of internal strength in dealing with things. There was time we were doing a project, and someone left the WhatsApp group, and by then I had one team member who was my assistant came to me, like, hey, this guy left the WhatsApp group. I was like, what's wrong? The WhatsApp group is not the company. And I was fine with the idea, like, just leaving a WhatsApp group shouldn't make me have sleepless
Anxious.
night. I will just talk to you tomorrow. I'm like, unless he explicitly tells me I don't want to work with you anymore, I don't try to take those gestures to say, like, maybe his phone was updating at night. Like, we usually just assume we take the farthest assumption and make it. Yeah, maybe he was trying to, maybe he's just like updated his phone at night. At times we take a lot of assumption and just kind of put it.
Yeah, so that is the challenge with minding about why
Yeah.
people should not, what, like minding why people should do certain things, expecting people to do certain things, because it reaches a point and it stunts your growth. You can't grow anymore
Yeah.
because you now care what people think. And sometimes people are going to come out.
Yeah.
I was reading this. No, I was taking a master class of I think Dan Brown, and he was speaking about audiences, like readers, how they get back.
Dan
to
Brown
you.
is a writer.
Yeah, Dan
The one who
Brown.
did Angel and
Angels and Demons.
Angel and Demons and the Da Vinci.
Yeah,
Code,
actually,
yeah.
I think I'm in Juba partly because of him. I took his master class, and he was like, "You should like if you have a main character and in a certain place, you have to be in that place." And I'm like, "Oh, I have to be in Juba." So, he was like, "Some readers are going to get to you, and then they'll air out their opinions about what you think
what
you
you
should
wrote
do.
and what.
And then, if let's say the book is a continuation, they want a certain character to do this, and if you go by that reader, you're going to mess up because your typical readers don't actually reach out to you. So you're going to change your test for that specific person, but it's going to affect. You're going to lose other readers. So sometimes,
So if you want to kill a character, kill the character.
yeah, if you wanted to kill them, kill them. I mean, we're here to give people emotions, to help them cry, to help them.
So we should give a range of that. I think it's very important. Like this idea is anyone who creates, and creation is very hard. Like I was telling someone, creation is one of the hardest thing. I think my producer is telling me I'm out. 2 minutes. Okay, 2 minutes is saying I'm out. So creation is very hard. Because I was telling someone, for you to put a content out there, to write something out there, you are going to contend with the idea that you're going to have a piece of you that is out there, you cannot return back, and it's subject of criticism. There are people, I was telling someone, there are people who wrote books with the N-word in it back in the 50s when this was not a problem. Now they have to deal with the criticism of the day of what they wrote then.
Exactly.
It's like probably some of the podcasts that I'm doing right now. Maybe some of my views will become
5 years down.
5 years down that people will be like, look at this disgusting human.
No, like 5 years down the road, if you want to go for
run
political
for office, yeah,
something, people are going to look for content you created.
And I have a lot of problematic things. If you look through, I have some nonsense things that I've said.
Oh, good, yeah. So that's the challenge with content creation, I think.
I think that's why a lot of people don't do it.
And sometimes that's what hinders. Like it helps. It holds us back as creators because we're supposed to just create. Like don't care what people will say, but in the end, you still know in your mind that people are still going to
watch and judge that.
Yeah. So it's hard.
It's definitely hard.
Actually, because I create content on YouTube, I think my easiest part is content creation. But then again, I do my own editing. So like I hate video editing.
I don't do my own editing. If
You're
I do my
lucky.
if I do my editing, someone here does my editing. If I do my editing, it's going to be terrible.
You cut out like I realize I record a lot of stuff. Then I have like I record a video an hour or 30 minutes, and then I have to bring it down to 10 minutes. And there are lots of things I have to cut. I'm like, if someone actually, I'm working on a book right now, and then I have to worry so much about the names I use because some of my characters, it might have a lot to do.
Yeah, here's permission. Use Nelson. Use Kwaja. Fine, I'm fine with that. Yeah, you use that. Use that on your characters.
What if
Bad, good.
what if there is a politician called Nelson?
You tell them I'm talking about this one. Who's
okay. So
hey, yeah, Nyibol, I want to wrap this up. My producer tells me I should have a memorable thing for wrapping up. I don't know what that is. But hey, it was really cool having you here. We should do this again. Yeah, these videos will go up. Be on the lookout for it.
You should share the link.
I'll do that. I'll definitely share the link.
Okay.
At least you'll not have a lot of pressure. I know my videos are like longer. So the people who watch my videos really watch it. They come and tell me, hey, on the minute 22-second number, this and this, you say that. And the people who don't watch it, don't watch it. So my audience, I have the diehards and the nobodies.
Yeah, no, actually, I think that the benefit is that it's on YouTube. But if it were like a live thing on TV, there are people that can actually watch it all, even if it was an hour. Yeah,
because TV is good. You force the hell out of people.
Yeah, and you're like, it's that you'll be watching and then you're still on your phone. So
thank you so much. Thank you much for being in a podcast about nothing.
Thank you for hosting me. I was a bit nervous, but then you made me feel great.
Hey, it's a wrap.